Well, Chase, I'm so excited to interview you. This is so much
Yeah.
fun. And so I think it would be good for people to know a little bit about how in the world I found you in the first place. And it's your mom, Darina Williamson, and I don't remember how she and I first connected, but we're both authors. And then she went on a trip with me to Rwanda, which was such a joy. But then I discovered your art. And the first thing that I saw was that beautiful picture of the woman with the fro. And I cannot remember,
Yes.
what is it called?
It's called Do Not Touch My Hair.
I remember I was like, I hope she doesn't think this is weird, but I've got to share this. And so I put it on my Instagram and I shared it. And then my daughter, Sydney, she loves art. And you started teaching her um, private lessons. And so that's how you and I got to know each other.
Yes.
And Sydney loved you so much. And I've loved getting to know you. And so when I decided to write Creative God, Colorful Us, and it was time for us to choose an illustrator. I was like, Eric, he's our art director. We have got to use Chase. She's incredible. She's going to capture this book. And I remember him being like, she's not an illustrator.
Yeah, he's right.
Well, I have no idea what any of this means, but can we try? And voila, it happened. I'm so glad it did. So Chase, thank you for saying yes to doing the artwork in Creative God Colorful Us when it's not your thing. So I want people to just get to know you a little bit and what is your thing. You are young, you are an artist, you paint, and that's what you did for Creative God Colorful Us. You painted these pictures and somehow they made them into what they are. I don't understand anything about art, but I am in awe of God and how God creates people like you who create art to bless the world and make. I really do believe it makes the world beautiful. And so you are reflecting him in the way that you create. And I just love it. And so thank you. I just wanted to publicly say thank you for lending your beauty and creativity to Creative God, Colorful Us. And so, with that, you are young. When did you discover that you could actually draw or paint and art? You were artistic.
Right. So, for most artists, it kind of is just like an instant kind of thing. But for me, it's kind of funny. I didn't even realize that I had a passion for art until I took an art class freshman year, just as an elective, just to fill up my schedule. And
That's
so it wasn't until I took that class that I
freshman year of
found that
college.
of high school,
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I was like one of only 5 freshmen in the class. It was filled with really just seniors trying to take the course to graduate. So it was a little different, but I found out that I really enjoyed creating and producing art through taking that elective course.
That's hilarious. So you Wow. Okay. So
Yeah.
first of all, our electives matter. I was in band, so I some of these things I think are I don't know if they're dying, but they're losing funding. So I do believe that art and music they matter. So, but that's so interesting that you didn't know before your freshman. So you had to have been like 14, 15 years old.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
pretty incredible. And so if so you're in college, you're a junior?
I'm a junior. Yes.
Okay. And what are you majoring in? What do you see for your future with art? Is it a hobby or is it something you want to do?
Yeah. So, senior year of high school was when I really decided to continue doing art. I didn't really even think about the possibility that I wouldn't be successful. I just wanted to continue painting because I really enjoyed doing it. Um, so now I'm a junior. I'm studying art as my major, studio art is the official name of it. And then I have a minor in psychology because I want to potentially, hopefully achieve a career in art therapy.
Okay, that's really interesting.
Yeah. So I love doing art, but I've always, asked myself, like, what else can I do with my art? Like, how else can I use this gift that God gave me? So I really want to specifically help children that have been through, traumatic situations and use art to help foster healing and mental well-being, while boosting their self-esteem. So that's kind of the broad reason why I want to do it. But
I love that. And that makes, I think, the fact that you used your art for Creative God, Colorful Us, that much more special to me, because I have had gotten word. I remember I shared the cover, and I believe it was an adult who commented that she doesn't see a lot of people captured with red hair and freckles. She doesn't see that, and she was like, "I'm so excited to see me in these pictures." And I think a lot of people, we use this phrase that's kind of become a cliche, but representation matters, and it does. And I think when a lot of people see themselves in the stories, that it can make the words and come alive that much more. I was joking that some people, they come for the pictures, stay for the words, and that and that's what I'm hoping will happen with Creative God Colorful Us, that they'll be drawn in because of the beautiful art, and they will stay and be enriched by the truth of God's word that's in there in the scriptures, in the words. And so so I love that you have a desire to use your art to bless people in such a really significant way through therapy. And I don't know, I'm going to be watching your future and see how the Lord uses that. But it's no surprise and no what's the word I'm looking for, mistake that you're in Creative God Colorful Us, because I do believe that it will minister to people in ways that your heart is already desiring and leading. So speaking of Creative God Colorful Us, how did you, what inspired the direction there? How did you come up with where to go in the pictures and the artwork?
right. So kind of back to what you were saying when a woman reached out to you and told you that, that was the first time that she saw someone like her represented, through a book. I can remember distinctly the first time that I was read a book. My mom read me a book when I was, I think, 4 or 5. And I remember it distinctly because the cover of it was of a Black girl with big, large, coily hair. And there was one line in it that read, "I like myself, I'm glad I'm me. There's no one else that I would rather be." And that stuck with me just growing up, just because that line rhymed and that girl looked like me. And so ever since then, I've always wanted to create something like that on my own, for someone else, another Black girl, another Black boy, another person of color, or a white person. I wanted to create this representation where they can see themselves and see, like, oh, I am beautiful, I'm worthy of anything. So
I love
that's kind of the main thing that I wanted to create for the cover, was just show that diversity is beautiful and it's okay.
it is okay, and it's good. And you did, I loved I mean, it captures my heart as well, and the heart of the book. And I love all of the bracelets, all the different features of a kid who is kind of in that age group, that 6 to 12, but I'm really saying like 14, because really when you read the words there, it can be older as well. But I love that you captured the diversity, even in the clothes that they would wear, and not only that, but ability. One of the pictures shows a young person with a
A
it's
crutch.
what is that?
A crutch.
Yes, a crutch. And I think it's very, it's good, and it's encouraging, I think, when we are able to capture the beauty of God's diversity in the world. and how he's just made us all so different. And it's a good thing. And so thank you for doing that. And it's sweet to hear that it started at 4, which I think is why it's so important for us to write to kids. They're paying attention. I think sometimes we don't realize how much kids are paying attention to what they're seeing, what they're hearing. They are learning at a really young age. And
Right.
I'm sure you've told your mom that before, but hopefully she'll hear it now. What a blessing it must have been for her to see how you were impacted by that at such a young age. So that is really sweet. Okay, so this is a hard question because we never want to choose favorites. It's so hard, but especially when it's your own work. But is there a favorite character? Okay, so when I share this, I'm going to make sure to share the images and so people can see who you're talking about. But is there a favorite character that you drew? Maybe of the 6 or so pictures of the faces, or maybe inside the book, one of the art pieces. Is there one in Creative God Colors?
Ah, well, I mean, like you said, it's really
I
hard
know.
to choose just one, but so I have a tie.
Okay,
So here is my copy of the book.
thank you. That's
Um,
so helpful.
this one
Aw,
show was
yes.
my most favorite to paint because it reminded me of myself when I grew up, just because I had curly like little pigtails and my mom would always put in the little clackers in my head, which kind of hurt
I
sometimes.
know,
But
I understand. That's a younger.
I just had lots of fun because it was really cool to get to kind of create someone that looked like myself on the cover of the book. And then this was also my second favorite because I based this painting off of a kid that I babysat during the summer, a little Hispanic boy. He's
Oh,
lots of fun. So
I
those are
love
my
it.
favorites.
I love it. I love it. You know, I think I was trying to choose a favorite and I can't. But hold it up one more time because I think if I were to choose a favorite, it would be I don't know from what Asian country you were inspired by. Yes. But doesn't she have braces?
Yeah.
I just love all the detail with the red hat and the braces. And it's
Yeah.
just, I love all the details. So it's just, I think she might be one of my favorite. But also, the kid with who's lighter skin with the curly hair. At yes, okay, he kind of reminds me of my son. When I saw it, I was like, Weston. So he might be tied too. Okay, so thanks for sharing that. Now, if you have you this is one of those hot seat questions, so don't feel bad if you haven't read the book. But is there a certain chapter that is one of your favorites?
Yes, as you can see, I've a little
Aw,
post-its of where my favorite parts are. But my favorite chapter is the sixth one, um, where it's we are different, but we are also the same. And that just like I love when we can read stuff like that because you know I think it's just important to constantly remind people of that, whether you're an adult or you're a kid, that it's okay if someone doesn't look like you or doesn't speak like you. We should still love them and show them kindness.
yes.
So I just
Yeah.
really found that chapter enlightening.
Oh, thank you. I think that's one of my favorite chapters too. I think partly um, because I think when we want to embrace our differences and our sameness, and I
Hmm.
don't think they're in war with each other. It's not a dichotomy. It's not like they're, and so if we can get to the heart behind why we don't, because I talk about some of the sin of partiality in that chapter, I think we can learn to love each other better. So I'm glad. That's encouraging because that's one of my favorite chapters too. All right. And let's see. One of our last questions here. You are in I'm going to get her last name wrong, but it is Amanda uh Gordon. She read the poetry and did the spoken word
Yes.
at the inauguration. Okay. She has captured the minds and hearts of people all over the world. I mean, they're all talking about her. And I do think there's something about a young artist who is using their gifting, and it inspires a generation, and the generation ahead and the generation below. I believe you're an inspiration. I do. You're using your art in such a way that is just it's captivating and it's gorgeous. I mean, you really are a very talented
Thank you.
artist. Yeah. I mean, like your skill is it's like you are an artist, right? So I just think it's amazing. And I am not over exaggerating. I am not trying to puff you up. It's true. And I know it's a gift from the Lord. It is remarkable. It's inspiring. And I do pray that as people get to know you and kind of follow your art and understand you're like young 20s 20s, yeah, you're lucky that they are inspired. So I wondered if you were to sit in front of a young artist, say you're sitting in front of my daughter, how would you encourage those who are aspiring to do um, the work of ministry, maybe, or just to use their art um, in any way? How would you encourage them to keep going, or however, whatever you would say to encourage them?
Right. So I know the line is pretty overused, but practice makes perfect. But in my case, if I would have stopped painting or drawing when I was a freshman in high school when my art really wasn't great, then I wouldn't be, really where I am today. I've learned to paint for myself and not for other people, not worry about the audience or how they're going to judge it. Just paint how you want to and create your passion. Doesn't really matter if it strays away from what other people are doing. Just create as much as you can, because in the end, God put that in you for a reason, and that alone makes it so special.
Mm.
So don't shy away from it, is what I would say.
Okay, so that just encouraged my own heart.
Oh, great. Okay.
Well, I'm serious. Here's the reason. You said to God gave you the gift, use it, and be encouraged and just go. I think so often we can s- stop because we become self-focused, or we're like, I'm not good enough, I'm not. But
Hmm.
you're saying keep going, practice, um step out in faith. Another thing that hinders, I think, a lot of us from keeping going, as you're encouraging, is what Proverbs calls the fear of man. And you've just encouraged us, don't worry about the audience, just do it. And
Right.
I am it encourages me, because so often we stop because we're afraid of critique, or afraid of failure, or afraid of what other people are going to think, or afraid of being talked about, or whatever it is. But if we are just honoring God and stepping out in faith and doing our thing that God has given us, then we can have freedom to do it with joy.
Right. And we can
So
have confidence that he'll be with us the entire time anyways. So what I have to think.
I love it. Well, I'm encouraged, and I am confident that will encourage other people. Chase, this is it. Just a short interview, but I could sit with you and learn from you all day. I really have just been blessed to get to know you, and your sweet countenance, which is just your mom. You're a reflection of your mother.
I've gotten that a lot.
I mean, inside and out, you really are. She's beautiful. You're beautiful. I am so grateful that God made you, and that He made you the way He did, and that you have shared um, the gifts that He's given you with us, and specifically with me, and now with thousands upon thousands of people who are reading Creative God Colorful Us. So I can't thank you enough, but I'm going to keep on thanking you. So thank you so much for joining us.
You're so welcome. Thank you.
All right.